Hey guys, my name is Nate and this is my brother Steven. Together we are Wingman Merch.
Thanks for checking out our video. We put these up about a month after we shoot them. If you'd like to catch any of these videos live, check out our Facebook page. The link is in the description.
Hello and welcome to Merch Monday for January 21st. I cannot believe there's only one more week, basically, of January 2019.
It's funny. You say that, and I can't believe this month is taking so long.
I messed up the date. I put 2009. 100.
Oh, 2109.
Yeah.
Living in the future, baby.
Hey. Let me check everything, make sure we're good to go. You had something you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. I guess just the same feeling of this month feels like it's really, I don't know, want to say grinding to a halt, but moving slowly.
Yeah,
but
I feel the exact opposite.
I think it's because of what I'm attempting to do. I'm trying to find a balance between working on our business and teaching our business. And it feels right now where I stand very difficult. I mean, we've been pulling it off for a long time, but because I'm attempting to restructure our print-on-demand business as far as the VA team is concerned in the research side, because I want things to be a lot more streamlined, and then feeling like I have to go just completely switch gears to try to teach. And with the boot camp, it was like we're restructuring something on a high level, and I'm trying to get that core idea across to people in a way that they can take action on it. I think we did an amazing job inside the boot camp. We've got a ton of great feedback. We are rethinking the teaching business quite a bit because of how well boot camp went. But just for me to find the balance between teaching the business and working on the business is becoming difficult. I think it's just because of two high-level things that I'm trying to do at the same time.
Yeah, for me, I would say that maybe this whole month, but definitely the last week of doing boot camp was the first time like the teaching business actually felt like one of our other businesses.
This is true.
Where like it's as like structured and we're putting as much time and thought and like have the understanding. I think is really what happened is we have so much more understanding the last week of how we want this business to be run. Before, like we said, like this wasn't anything we had planned out previously. It was just something we were doing in May of last year. We're like, okay, let's try to put more effort and energy into this thing to like see if we enjoy doing this and if people enjoy the content that we're putting out. It's no longer just us talking on Merch Mondays. Like it became, teaching and courses that we were putting together. And then, late into last year doing Pre-Flight 2.0 and having success with that, we were like, okay, we can definitely do this. And it was just something we were kind of moving forward with. Like, yes, it's working. Let's just keep doing it the way that we're doing it. But we didn't truly take the time to see the big picture of how everything is working together. And it was just because Steven's quote that he's now using a lot is, you don't know what you don't know until you know it. Like, we just had no idea that we could even do things better. We've seen other people do it, but we didn't quite understand why, like, what we were doing was different than what we were doing or what they were doing. Like, we were reading books on how do you like market all this stuff, how do you schedule certain things, and we're like, it just doesn't feel like our content fits inside of there. And we've had a huge aha moment and lots and lots and lots and lots of hours of talking this weekend of just like, oh, now we finally are starting to wrap our heads around, what is working. And it's just thanks to the feedback inside of boot camp and some people just like being more knowledgeable than us and being willing to share with us. That's why we're always constantly asking you guys, like, please tell us what you guys are interested in. Tell us if there's any way we can help you. And just having people like, hey, we just think you could be doing this better. Like, yes, please tell us that. That's why we're asking for feedback in all these different ways. It's like, we understand we need to be doing this better. We just don't understand like what better necessarily means all the time. So,
yeah, I think you pointed out something too. When we were doing Pre-Flight 2.0, it was a lot of work. But I think because we knew how much work it was going to be and what we were attempting to do, I put everything else off. And I was like, I'll worry about the private label stuff that I'm doing, the wholesale, everything else off, and just focus in on this. And this was the first time where it was like, okay, we kind of have to now figure out how all of this works together. And I feel like as far as our print-on-demand business, Amazon business, brand building business, I finally got all those things to work together. And now this teaching thing is a whole new business that we are trying to learn and get better at. And like you said, the realization of we don't know what we don't know, and it's just a lot of learning that has taken place from January to now, because I am taking a course on how to teach better. I am taking a class on marketing. It's like a lot of new information along with trying to restructure our one part of our other business and then learn this new business. Was the first time I was like, okay, I need to figure out a balance between these two things. I always want to learn and be on the cutting edge of the discovery information side of our business. How do I do that and still be able to teach people? Because I can't teach them at this high level because it's so much. We're attempting to teach you guys so much so that you can be here. So when we're testing things, it makes sense to you. When I'm looking in the URL and I'm trying to find how to, it's even hard to even explain what I'm attempting to do and then teach people what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. It's difficult. It's even hard when I talk to Nathaniel. I'm like, oh, I found something new, and I show him, and he's like, I don't know what that is. That looks amazing, but I don't know what that is. And I was like, oh, it's going to speed up this much time for us when we do these things. He's like, okay, that's amazing, but that has little to do with me, and even less to do with what we're currently doing and what we're trying to do with this. But that sounds good. So it's a balance, and I didn't ever think about it like that until this week when we were teaching boot camp at a high level and trying to run our business at a high level.
I think Melinda is on the right path of what we figured out, and she was saying that we should arrange our classes like Girl Scout badges with individual merits that add up to like earning a particular badge, and that's closer to what we are doing now. We actually like see it as you can follow like these steps and get the full understanding instead of like trying to piece everything that we're doing together and having like random pieces of certain things and other courses that don't really belong, but you have to know that in order to like see the big picture here. So just like kind of teaching the same thing in multiple different places, like there was a lot of realization going on this week. But I do like that passport idea. Maybe we'll use that somewhere, treating it like a passport, like you're getting your stamp and Spark art and things like that.
Yeah, we feel like we have all the pieces. Now we're trying to put the pieces together, rethink how we want to be teaching, and teach more in a linear fashion instead of having here's everything you need to know about keywords and a piece of art, and then we're tacking on different things like Nathaniel said inside of one class. It just gets to be a little overwhelming. But if we focus in and just teach this part of the art, just this part of keyword, just this part of discovery research, then it makes it easier for people who are wanting to follow us, and that should make it easier for us to point to different things to go, okay, you need to know more about keywords, we can point you here instead of going, oh, I don't quite understand the Wingman 5-step test. And we're like, well, that information is somewhere in the Facebook group. Like,
yeah, that's like what we talk about the most. And last week, realizing like that video is not anywhere to be found. Let's just reshoot it. That was good. But yeah, back to like what Steven was talking about, balance of like, even now that we have this like roadmap that we're following and we're putting all the pieces together, it's still a balance of like, okay, I still have, other businesses we are running while doing this. So while it's great that we're having all this realization, not wanting to drop everything just to work on the teaching business, I think that'd be a little foolish, especially with the partnerships and things we have going on now. Like you have to be aware of everything you're doing. And just set aside time to do certain things. That is like one of our higher priorities now, just figuring how everything's going to work together a little bit better, and the website's up there on the higher priorities things, but it's not like we just drop everything and that's our only focus for this month. I think that's just unwise to do that. Yeah. Balance. What is balance, as Christy's saying? I think it's
a moving target. That's what we've learned. There is no like
true.
You find the balance. It's a constant moving target that we are attempting to reach. And just the more we know and the more enlightened we are, we see that, oh, this is another thing that we have to be aware of as we move forward.
Yeah. And not feeling like we'll ever achieve balance, but that's our goal, is to just try and find that balance. But I think a lot of people who work online or have to be self-motivated have to deal with that. Like, where is the balance? It's so easy just to do the things you like. Like someone was saying that, we should teach on art more. I was like, no problem. Like, I'd love to teach on art just like all day. Like, I have no problem redoing what we've already talked about. I got no problem talking about that. But I don't think that's the wisest thing for us to do. Like, we have all of this knowledge. Why should I only talk about art? So that's where we're at with that, trying to find balance, trying to find, being level-headed in finding balance, not getting too drawn to one thing or losing sight of what, kind of the big picture is. And yeah, it's definitely, like we said, just a moving target, something we're working towards.
Yeah, I didn't want to take over this whole call on just my random idea.
Yeah.
But it's something that I was struggling with. I know people in here might not be teaching, but we are attempting to kind of push you guys out of your comfort zone. If you see questions in here, if you have questions that you see other people are asking, ask them. And we're trying to push you guys out to be answering those also. I think the thing that's helped me the most in just learning is learning from somebody that I trust and then trying to teach somebody else. That's like what's really solidifying understanding for me. So we will be pushing you guys to hopefully feel like you understand the question a little bit, attempt to answer it, try to show other people what you're doing. I think even as people are growing their business and showing VAs, I think they get a lot of deeper understanding of that too. Having to teach another person a part of the business, they get a deeper understanding of it.
Yeah, not to keep calling back the boot camp since that's past now, but we did, get a ton of really good feedback in there, and just like eye-opening to. Sorry, I just blanked on the last thing you said, which was
the deeper understanding.
Yeah, getting deeper understanding and from other people. That's what you had said. Having other people point out things that we're just not seeing is super helpful.
All right, let's transition into the call now. That
hard segue into actual things we need to talk about.
Let's go back to what this group is all about. We want to be talking more than just merch. We feel like we did an awesome job in the last boot camp that we just had. We're going to be continuously, not talking about, but growing this group. We want to start bringing in other platforms, different things. Nathaniel is very passionate about the art. We feel like that's a big portion of this community is they're very artistic. Is that a bad word to say? No, graphically inclined.
Yeah.
So Nathaniel has an opportunity to teach more, and we want to be able to bring that opportunity here to this group. I guess I'll let you fully explain it.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about the reasoning behind this coming up, but we have talked about KDP a little bit in this group before. And like Steven said, I love teaching on art. So any opportunity to teach on art and my newfound favorite program as of the last 4 months, which if you guys have taken any of our courses in that time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We want to be able to bring that knowledge also to the KDP community. And thankfully, my new favorite program has just made it possible to be able to do KDP books. Covers, that should be said, not the whole book, just the cover is what we're focusing on. And so I'm going to be teaching a class on that. Some tactics of, what you should be putting on these book covers and also how to actually create them and get them up in a timely fashion. We know the KDP book cover generator thing is not the best in the world. A lot of people have their problems with it.
There's a lot of limitations. We want to show you how to kind of free up your artistic ability inside a program that we've been talking a lot about and be able to use it for KDP.
Yeah, just allow you guys to have a little bit more freedom, a little less headache is always the goal. So we will be teaching that class. And the price for that class is going to be $24.99. It's going to be starting on January 30th, which is a Wednesday. It's the last Wednesday of this month at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And because you guys are part of this group, we are promoting this other places, but because you're in this group watching a Merch Monday, we're going to give you guys $15 off for this week. So if you guys are interested in that, it starts next week. So it's, basically the whole time you have to think about if you want the class, you'll have the discount. And that price is going to be $9.99 because we're giving you $15 off. That link will be in the description of this video. Well, actually also in the chat, which is what I'm going to post right now. So if you guys are interested in that or just want to check out what it is exactly, there'll be a link in chat with more info on the KDP class.
I think from now on, not even saying the prices, just putting up the
more info link.
Yes. It always sounds like a good deal when you're explaining it, and then you say the price, you're like, wait a minute, I thought it was
the wrong price. I know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm horrible with numbers. That's why I'm the art guy. I'm just the creative person here.
The last thing we were doing was like $9.99, but then you said it was 20, you said like 48, so I was like, wait a minute, that's way off.
Yeah. Well, also,
You're like, we're giving
yeah,
you a great deal at $50. You're like,
if everything was just
$5.
one price, that'd be fantastic. It's not my strong suit. I'm glad I'm not like a news anchor or anything. It's not for me. All right, so that's what we're doing with KDP. Hopefully, you guys will join us over there if you're at all interested in that. We know that there are people in this group using KDP. That's why we mentioned it over here. And, you know, it is another interesting print-on-demand platform. It's not quite apples to apples comparing it to merch, but it is similar, and the business model is similar. Can't even talk anymore. But we're just putting
you
up.
You say numbers and it just like your brain just stops.
Yeah, we are putting up art and other images and insides of book covers, and then Amazon is handling the printing and the shipping aspect of the business. So another print on demand thing that we love. We will be teaching on that more this year, and we think it starts with just knowing how to do good art. So hopefully this will help. And if you guys just want to see me talk about art some more, the things that I'm talking about aren't necessarily specific to shirts, but the program that we're using is still very valuable to learn and understand. So we'll be talking more about that.
Yeah, I guess as we continue to teach more of the print-on-demand business, we want to lay a solid foundation. That's what we've come to realize is how to do that better. So we want to lay a solid foundation of merch because we feel like that's kind of what we built this group on, and then start educating you guys on more print-on-demand platforms. But the foundation that we're laying with merch, it should make it easier to better understand every other piece of product line that we're going to be teaching you. If you understand the Wingman 5-step test on how to find landing zones, you should be able to easily take that and apply it to the KDP business. We want to show you guys exactly how to do that. The same information that you should be gathering from the shirts, and I say this all the time, testing, not guessing. When you start testing and finding out what's working, then it's much easier to build on top of that. That's what we're trying to think about, the teaching business bigger and in a way that each piece of teaching is not like, oh, now they're talking about KDP, now I got to learn a whole nother. It should be just another thing that you add to your business. You should be bolting all of this onto your business. We have figured out a good way to make it work in our business. We're constantly tightening it up to make it work better for us. But as far as like if you're doing a merch business, it should not be that difficult to add KDP to your business. That's why we're trying to start talking more about the print-on-demand business as a whole. If you're running a successful merch business, it should not be very difficult to add merch onto that business. Or sorry, KDP onto that business.
Yeah, like Steven said, all those teachings should compound on each other. It will be a learning curve to get into that new system and wrap your head around exactly what's going on. But as far as the research and the art, like we're using similar tools for both of those. We're using similar methods of going after, where we're finding competition. Again, we talked about the 5-step test just last Wednesday. So definitely go back and watch that video if you haven't. But all of this stuff we want to tie together. And then, we have an even bigger picture of where we want to take this, which is the product line. So once you understand, traffic and how to provide a product for that traffic, just taking that to the next level and building something that's a little bit more cemented, I guess. So.
Yeah, and I think it all starts with that testing. The business to me is just a bunch of systems. I'm going to call back to McDonald's because I think everybody kind of knows that. McDonald's has a really good system. They might not make the best burger you've ever tasted, but it's a very systemized way that they can make the burgers, the fries, and everything. That's what we want to teach you, is how to run a business. If you're learning merch and you're understanding it, you should be able to build a system to the point where you can hand it off to somebody else to do. Your job as a business owner is to understand that system and then have somebody else run that system so that you can work on your business, not in your business. That's what we're hopefully growing towards. We want to show you guys how to actually grow businesses and run businesses. If you're just here for merch, I think now is the perfect time because we are trying to lay a solid merch foundation, but we also want you guys to take this journey with us and grow just a print-on-demand business. We feel like if you are doing merch and you understand merch, it's not that difficult to run an actual print-on-demand business. And I don't think this should be a surprise to anybody. Merch is changing all the time. You don't want to give your whole business one income stream and solely rely on Amazon. That is a foolish endeavor. That's why we now are trying to give you multiple options, multiple income streams so that you can grow a successful business, a table with more than just one leg so it can stand on its own. Even if some legs sometimes get taken away due to whatever Amazon has going on, you're not crippled in your business. You don't have to start completely over. You have a foundation that you can now build off of.
Yeah, we do talk about Amazon a lot, and it's just because it's a fantastic place to find organic traffic, and be able to sell products in a pretty systemized way. But it's definitely not the only place to be doing print on demand. It's not the only platform that we're using, and even doing organic traffic is not the only way of selling print on demand shirts, which again we'll talk about more this year. I know we said it a lot last year, like next year it's coming, but understanding how we can not only lay that solid foundation of merch, but also package it in a way that it makes sense and you can like go through it, like Melinda was saying, like with the Scout badges, like it's not quite that system, but we want everything that we're teaching to build on top of each other instead of it just being everywhere. Like, oh yeah, you want to learn art, here's the art class, but you're also going to learn that in every course that we go through, because we want you to understand these basic tools and things to use to actually make sure you can get shirts up and do all this stuff. So just having everything more systemized, and like Steven said, now is a great time to be joining this group because things are being mapped out much better. So when we say here's the 5-step test, it's not just randomly in this group anymore. Hopefully we will have that more organized, and even looking at other websites while our website's being built to help us just with organization, so you guys can find all of this great content that we've put out.
Yeah, and you've talked about a little bit, but the action step for this week, I think, was that same check out that 5-step test, correct? I think we've done a very good job of explaining the 5-step test and what it is and what we're trying to accomplish with it. And we think that that is a very important part of building your business. It kind of gives you a foundation to build off of. That 5-step test took us 8 months of hard looking at merch, what's working, how can we systemize this, how can we find more success, how can we up our conversion rates, and it was just boiled everything down to that 5-step test. I always joke that it started with 30 steps, and then we cut it down to 15, and we finally got it down to 5. But checking out that Wingman 5-step test that we just shot, I think is a great place to start, and just a better understanding so that you don't have to waste time just guessing at a lot of things. It gives you a great place to start testing things and then start to build a system that you can then hand off to somebody else.
Yeah, we're really working on our communication inside of this group. And so we've talked about the 5-step test, I think, quite a bit, but we haven't actually talked about like why each one of those rules are important. That's really what we lay out in this latest Wednesday video that we shot on it. It was just saying, like, this is the reason why step 1 through 5 is important. It's not just, hey, trust us, we know, enough to run our business and we're being successful with this, but we want to give you guys that knowledge of like, oh, this is why we're doing these things. We think that's just as impactful as knowing what to do is why you're doing it. So we do talk about that in last Wednesday's video. But that's all like part of our, what we've been talking about of just systemize things more. We want you, everything we're doing is trying to help you build a system. We want you just to be able to have, these rules in place or these steps in place that you're following inside of merch, so you can be consistent and find success with it and then grow other parts of your business. And that all starts with, action steps, which we talk about all the time. And what we were just talking about. Man, I am blanking so much.
The 5-step test?
Yeah, well, yes, having systems in place. So, yeah. I think that's everything we want to talk about.
Well, the question, I think the organization, but you kind of touched on that. We're getting a lot of organization questions. I think it started off with a lot of, where is this information? It is we know you've talked about this. Can you help us find it? I think that started us down this organization path. And we have attempted to do a much better job inside this Facebook page, or group. It's difficult inside Facebook because of how it's set up. And we have units that aren't quite working right. We had tags and now they're gone, and we've been trying to figure out why they disappeared and what happened to them. It doesn't look like they're coming back. So we're just trying to do a better job of organization. That's why I'm spending a lot more time focused on this website. And like Nathaniel said, we can't drop everything just to focus on one thing. So we're trying to find the balance in all of that. But the most common question is the organization question. And I think it goes back to what Nathaniel's always trying to do, is get feedback from you guys. You've made that poll. somewhere, correct?
Yeah, that's
I don't
what
know
I'm
if you want to put that in the group
posting
also.
in chat right now. So part of us being more organized and systemizing our teaching business, so you guys can actually follow along with everything we're talking about, is hearing your feedback. And you might not think that it's super impactful. You might not think that we're looking at everything, but like your guys' feedback is the reason we're able to now wrap our heads around this teaching thing even better. Like your guys' feedback means so much to us. Because it helps us improve. We're getting your guys' opinions of what we're doing. We think what we're doing is fantastic, and we have people telling us that. But when you have a problem with something or if something's unclear, that's where we learn and can adapt to that the most. If you have any problems, please tell us. We don't want to just keep doing something that's going to cause you more problems in the future. We want to know what those problems are so we can, reformat our teaching, which is what we're doing, to help everybody understand what's going on and everybody have success. Again, that's the whole reason where we started teaching. We love helping people. We want, I want this community to be my coworkers, my people that I can like reach out to and just hang out with or see while I'm on the road, or everybody understands what's going on. If we're all having success with the merch, that gives us, more freedom and ability to meet up and do cool stuff together. And Steven wants this to be, his business partners in 5 to 10 years, like people just having success with this business and being interested in other things that we can talk about and we can grow. Again, Steven's into a million things. So being able to help you guys with all of the other stuff we're interested in once we feel like everyone understands merch, or at least we have a system in place for people to understand merch, like that's really where our hearts are at with this. That's why we care about your feedback so much. So
and your feedback. And I guess some of the feedback that we got is people saying, well, we don't want to sound negative. So Nathaniel made it even easier by anonymity.
Nope. Try again, Nemo.
You're able to fill out the feedback without giving your
anonymously.
name. Anonymously.
Oh, I didn't know where you're going with that. I thought you were trying to say see anemone.
No. We made it so that you don't have to put your name. So even if you have feedback where you're like, I want to tell these guys this, but I don't want it to sound bad, and I don't really want to attach my name to it, Nathaniel made it in a way that you don't have to put your name. Feedback is what we're looking for. Good, bad, or indifferent. I jokingly to some of the people, like even Christy gives us a ton of great feedback, and it's mostly positive. But I tell her, like, it's almost like I don't like the positive feedback because I learn so much from what people feel is negative feedback. Feedback to me is not good or bad. It's just feedback. I need information so that we can process it to do better moving forward. I don't want you guys to feel like, oh, I don't want to say this because it might hurt their feelings. My feelings don't get hurt. I want to know. I want to get better. I think I said this a lot. I'm not here for the year, this year, next year, 5, 10 years from now. And I want to make sure that we are getting better and not just small improvements, huge improvements. I want people to watch this next month and go, wow, those guys have really come a long way. I think the people that were in the boot camp get that feeling of, wow, I was in the last boot camp and this one is way better. That's what we that's what we want to keep doing, is over delivering and getting way better, leaps and bounds. And the only way we can do that is by honest feedback.
Steven sounds like he's asking for like hate comments, but we really do learn so much from you guys. Just this open and honest feedback. We're not just looking for a bunch of cheerleaders. We have Christy, who's super motivational. She's my internet mom. She's
positivity
always
fairy.
building us up. Yeah, we love that too. We're not saying we want the positive people to go away, but we want you to feel like you have a voice in this group. We want you to feel like you can voice your opinion. I know when we were like smaller and asking for questions of people to get in the group, like they were pretty brutally honest. They didn't know who we were. They didn't know what this group was. So I think they just were like, here's what I want in a group. Like that's what we were asking for. And so we're kind of doing that same thing again with this like 2018 year wrap up review of just like, how do you think things went? And you guys said, things again that are changing the way that we're organizing. All of this has just come from your feedback. Hey, I love your content. I can't find where anything is. First of all, you guys are doing a 2-hour-long video. So if you say something and I want to go back to it, I got to scrub on Facebook through 2 hours of content to like find what you guys are saying. I'm just not going to do it. I don't have the time. And, I can't even find the video anyways, because the way you guys titled things was just like random, we're going live. It's just like somewhere in that video, we talked about something important. So we hear you guys' feedback. We are trying to learn. We're trying to get better. We're trying to find the right tools to put in place. And so, yeah, that's where our hearts are at. That's why we care about your feedback. And so if you guys would, please go fill out that 2018 feedback survey. It really does help us a lot. Me and Steven have gone over those together and just looking at, it's like 7 questions, and half of them are multiple choice. So, we're not asking too much of you guys, but it does make a big impact on the way that we run our teaching business. So if you guys could do that for us, we would love that. And then the last thing that we actually have for this week, I guess the last 2 things, is one, we talked about the boot camp quite a bit, but we did want to just give a shout out to everybody in there. A huge thank you from the bottom of our hearts for just your open and honest opinion. That was the first course where we've actually asked people to jump on like their camera and go live inside of Facebook and like tell us their feedback. And that was super impactful on me and Steven, just like really thinking about, what you guys are saying. We know that you're not just like, randomly throwing stuff at us or saying hate comments or anything like that. Like, you guys we asked them to go live and like say who they are, what their goals are, what's driving them to want to do merch, and then also like what their feedback was. And those things were huge. So we are so appreciative to everybody who was inside the boot camp. That really did make a big impact on us. And we kind of see the light of how everything could be so much better. So that's what we're striving for now.
Yeah, I want to shout out Susan Fish.
Mm-hmm.
She reached out to us. Something that people have said to us when they reach out to us is, oh, I didn't want to overstep my bounds in saying something to you guys. I don't know how to make you guys feel more comfortable. I guess that's something that we will try to work on, but we love your feedback. I hope that last 5-minute rant shows you how much we love feedback. But I just want to shout out Susan. She reached out to us. We even jumped on a call with her because we're trying to get better. She had some really good feedback for us, and we were just trying to get better quickly. So we were trying to clarify some stuff. We jumped on a call with her, and she has made a huge impact on how we're going to move forward. So I just want to say thank you. It's made me think a lot and process, and how we're going to move forward is being shaped by this community. And I want to say thank you to everybody that's reached out and gave us good comments. I want to appreciate everybody not PMing me directly and going through Nathaniel. My inbox is now finally, I'm working through it. I should in future be able to take some PMs, and we want to be able to put something in place. Or if you want to reach out to me, I want to offer that to this group. It's just, like Nathaniel said, I have a lot of things going on. I don't know how to balance all that stuff, but I'm trying to get better. And it's just difficult when a lot of people need my attention, and I'm trying to balance everything. But if you want to keep reaching out to Nathaniel, you go for it.
I love talking to people. I don't care if that makes it sound like Steven hates people. He doesn't. But I love talking to all of you guys. I have really great relationships inside of here. Steven, shouting out Susan. I think we've talked to her 3 out of the last 4 days for like an hour, just on calls, like getting to know, like each other and how we can help each other. And she has some really great suggestions for how we should be moving forward. And there's a ton of people in this group that I've, jumped on calls with, or just, had great conversations with, new ideas that have nothing to do with merch. I love all of that stuff. Again, I want you guys to be my coworkers. Doesn't necessarily mean we're working on the same exact things, but we understand each other. We're working towards a common goal, which is just, I guess whatever your goal wants to be.
Whatever your why is.
Yeah, whatever your why is. But we just want to help you guys get there. So thank you guys.
Oh, you want to say the coming up? I guess we don't have a defined what Wednesday is. It's going to be like an update. We'll do another Wednesday live video. We like doing those. Maybe shoot in the backyard if it's warmed up a little bit.
Not raining. Yeah.
Or not raining. But that will be what's coming Wednesday, is just an update video.
Yeah, some type of update, either about our life or something we saw throughout the week that inspired us that we want to share with you guys. We just, enjoy this community, want to be going live more inside of here. So even if we don't have an exact plan, we know that we, by midweek we'll have something going on that we just want to talk about. So that's our time for that. We don't have an exact time on that, but it's usually after lunch that we go live in this group on Wednesdays.
I think that's it.
All right.
Now it's over.
Thank you guys for sticking with us. 33 minutes. We haven't done one this long in a while.
Yeah, they've been shorter.
Yeah. We've been trying to keep them shorter, but now that it's January, we're making them run a little bit longer. But we appreciate you guys. Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, we don't know exactly what time, Marcia. And there was a question, actually, that I want to address while we're still live. Jim was asking if the class on next Wednesday, the KDP cover creation class, if that will be recorded, and the answer is yes. Once that class, there's a huge value in being there live, but if you can't be there live, completely understand that class will be recorded, and it will be in the file section, in the pin post of this group. under classes. I'll make sure that the recording goes up there, and that's where you can find all of our recordings for classes. So we'll make sure that that goes up. And even if you buy the course and can't make it, that recording will, also get sent to your inbox. So you'll have access to that. You don't have to wait till afterwards to purchase it. We'll make sure that you guys get that.
Yeah, I guess Wednesdays are unscheduled, so it's not a particular time. We like going live. We used to go out to eat Wednesdays and then talk about a lot of business things and then just go live and express what we have upcoming.
I made a meeting in time of mine and Steven's business meeting.
I didn't want to throw you under the bus, but
I'll do it. It's fine.
Things have changed a little bit this week, so sometime after lunch we're going to come in here and go live. We like doing that inside this group.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us and sticking with us. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. All right, bye-bye. There we go.